this moment of solitude has taught me. Sometimes it's hard to hear God's voice if you haven't spent enough time to even understand or know his voice. Damn, I fucked up. My wife and kids just got dropped off at the airport. And they're on their way to Vietnam, and I'm not with them because my visa needed some stuff and I didn't attend to it, and that's on me. So now I'm stuck in Taiwan until I get that handled. So we'll see. So your boy's out here. I gotta go back to Taipei and wait till the visa gets granted and get the next available flight out to Saigon and meet up with the family, I guess. Shit. Like this moment of solitude has taught me. Sometimes it's hard to hear God's voice if you haven't spent enough time to even understand or know his voice. And this year I haven't spent the time. I haven't spent the effort to strengthen that relationship. I was hurt. I was hurt by an opportunity with a friend that didn't come to fruition. I was hurt because I felt like I was being led on, and yeah, man, it just sucked, bro. You would never tell a friend to like join an opportunity and fucking pay them $22 fucking an hour and then take 90% of the, commission, right? Like, it's fucking crazy. But it reiterated, like who I am at my core. I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I get value not from making money, but raising strong, resilient, powerful, smart, happy kids. And I'm doing that, but I haven't been focusing on that. And as my daughter, my eldest daughter, is now 3.5, she's going through what a lot of people call three-nager, that stage called three-nager, right? Like, having these big emotions, big feelings. And I wasn't really tending to them, right? Like, I was demanding that she goes down for her nap so that I can work extra hours to do this, Medicare job. And I was abandoning that, and I was making her, cry it out and lay in her bed crying so I can get extra hours in, or, doing things like that. And that's not a hallmark of a good father, like, I'm the stay-at-home father. My number one responsibility was my kids, not the money, like my wife didn't need the supplemental income. She had no expectations of me. I just placed that expectation on myself. And, this whole situation made me realize that my identity isn't rooted in money. It isn't rooted in my trading performance. It isn't rooted in the car I drive. It's rooted in who I am as a father, and I strayed away from that. So, this whole situation really led me back to focusing on what a real father is and what it means to be a real father. And a lot of that is strengthening your relationship with God, right? And I know there's a lot of other scripture that says, like, physical fitness does have some value, but it is being godly, is being good that, serves all. And I wasn't doing that, right? Like, I leaned into fitness to cope, and it's great. It's a good productive outlet, enjoyable. But I think having that relationship with God is more important than that. And then I leaned into, or, in like the midst of everything, right? Like, I felt like money was the end all be all, right? Like, I was measured by how much money I made or how much, I contribute to the family. And that's not the case, because I have a important role that's irreplaceable. And I haven't been focusing on that. So God closed that door, and he had me feel a pain that was pretty deep. But God doesn't test you or, give you these obstacles that you wouldn't be able to overcome. And sometimes it is painful, but it's because he loves you. And I have full faith in that, right? So, as hurt as I was, it's a blessing. It's a blessing for me to really focus on what I need to do. And what I need to do isn't anything related to fucking selling Medicare to elderly on the false basis of, them making more money off of benefits, right? Like, that's so scammy. Like, that's not godly behavior, right? Like, if I told people that I did that, would I be proud of that? Absolutely not, As a matter of fact, I'd rather make less money or no money at all, right? Than even be related to that, even be tied into any of that practice, right? Because it's predatory, it's scammy. Yeah. So I was super disappointed, but at the same time, shout out my boy God. Shout out his love, unrelenting love, even in the midst of like my darkest times, right? Like, whether it's battling certain addictions or bad habits or, financial struggles, even though situations might feel really tough, God pulls through and, gets you back on the right track. So, as this trip has taught me, well, not this trip, but like this moment of solitude has taught me, sometimes it's hard to hear God's voice if you haven't spent enough time to even understand or know his voice. And this year, I haven't spent the time, I haven't spent the effort to strengthen that relationship until I would even say I put in that work. It was only until my whole Vietnam visa shenanigan went down, where my family is now in Vietnam and I'm stuck back in Taiwan, that I've had this, 12 hours to sit in silence and ruminate and meditate and pray on everything that's happened. And, I forgive. I held hurt and I kind of held a grudge to certain people and certain things. But at the end of the day, right, like that's not godly behavior either. I'm here to forgive. I'm 100% okay. I'm happy. I'm blessed. I'm extremely wealthy with everything that I have. My kids are healthy, vibrant. My wife is amazing. Everything I can ask for, I have. Um, so a minor financial hurdle and a minor setback or a door closed doesn't mean the end of the world. It's just God aligning me on what I need to do.